Hi, welcome to Fluketronic. Up today we're going to do something a little bit different on the channel. We're going to make a virtual Native American style flute. Okay, what do I mean by that? I have featured on the channel a few times now the WARBL wind controller, and I've shared that I worked with the developer Andrew Mowry to come up with a Native American flute fingering mode. And I've showed that to some of my Facebook friends and NAF groups, and a few folks really kind of took offense to that. You know, if I played something like a trumpet or saxophone or something with the WARBL, I'd get comments that, you know, that's not a NAF, that doesn't sound like a NAF, what do you think you're doing? That kind of thing. So today we're going to try and take a little bit different approach and come up with some reasons why you might want to investigate something like this, even if you are a more traditional flute player. So to do that, we're going to create an instrument inside the iPad. Okay, so we're going to do that inside of an app called ThumbJam. Let's launch that now. And one of the things that ThumbJam lets you do, it comes with a lot of different instruments. You can see you can pick trumpet, violin, whatever, and you know, tenor saxophone. And you can play those instruments. The other thing it lets you do is create your own. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and create an instrument. And I'm going to name this I'm just going to call this NAF, and I'll say mid-A Hawk. This is my mid-A flute from hawkhenries, and we're going to turn it into a virtual NAF today. Okay, so if you look at the display in the middle here, you see the sound meter bouncing around there. On the left-hand side is the note value. So if I play the low A on this, you can see the A4. You can also see the blue line in the middle there is A440. So if I'm playing exactly in tune with the tuner, then the little circle would be right over the blue line. As you can see, the flute is playing quite a bit sharp of the 440 standard. Not a problem with that. I've talked about that before. Flute is in tune with itself and is perfectly fine. But for purposes of the iPad, it's going to be reading sharp. That's really not a problem, and I'll get into that momentarily here. So to capture the real flute into the iPad, what we're going to do is we're going to click record, and when I click record, it's going to say waiting for threshold. So it's waiting to hear a loud enough sound at the microphone on the iPad, and then when it goes back down, it'll quit recording. So let's go ahead and give that a try. Okay, so now I've got an A4 sample. I can go into that and see some details about that sample. So first of all, let's use the test button. Okay, that's good. So that just to make sure that you captured a good sound and you don't have a lot of dead space at the start, that kind of thing. Now you can adjust the start points and end points. I'm not going to mess with that today, but you can fine-tune your instrument later in here if you like. Another thing you see is the fine-tuning. It says -32 cents. So that means that when you play it on the on-screen keyboard or with another controller, it's going to fine-tune that sample down 32 cents because I was playing it sharp 32 cents. When I played it. So that's what I mean by you don't have to be all that in tune with your samples because it's going to take care of some of that for you. Now, if that's not what you want, you can also turn that off, of course. All right, so let's go back here. That's the A note. Let's go ahead and capture the C note. Whoops. All right, and you want to go through and check each of these as you go. Kind of learned that the hard way. Done this a couple times, and first time it's real easy, or it's not too difficult to record a sample, and it didn't record well. So definitely check yourself as you go, and it'll be a lot easier. All right, let's do the D note. E. G. And the A. Okay, so you can take as many samples as you want. It's going to sound better. The more you get, if you wanted a chromatic scale, the more you get sampled, the better it's going to sound, because when you play something in between the samples you have, then it's going to have to make something up, right? So it didn't have the exact sample, so it's going to have to pitch bend from the ones it has. So let's go ahead and change the octave. Okay, let's go up to an A4. We'll also change the starting note to A, and for the on-screen keyboard, let's change the scale here to a minor scale. Okay, so now you can see on the screen I've got A4 going actually up a couple of octaves, but if I just play the lower octave here, then it should sound exactly like I sampled it. You can see because of the scale I chose, I've got a B note and an F note that I didn't play, but it's able to do that interpolation and give you a note there. So now let's set up the WARBL. To do that, I'm going to go into the preferences and look under MIDI control, and a couple of things here. So you can see the WARBL is selected for note input. Kind of did that automatically, but one thing I'm going to want to choose. The defaults are pretty much okay, but the one thing I do want to pick is breath control volume and breath control filter. And you might want to mess around with some of these other things, but those are the important things, at least with the wind controller. If I do that, I should be able to play. Now let me see if I've got the right register. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to play the WARBL, and you can hear that through the iPad. So why would you want to do that? Well, a couple of reasons. One, if you're traveling or somewhere that you didn't want to take your expensive real Native American flute, you could take this setup and practice. Like I've said, the fingerings are all what you're used to on the real NAF. So if you wanted to practice songs in your hotel room or on your couch or whatever without waking the kids, this is one option. You know, put some headphones in and the WARBL, and away you go. Now, a couple of things you can do to maybe make it a little more realistic. You might want to play around with some of the MIDI controls or even the WARBL configuration. One thing I'm hearing is that the velocity that I'm getting out of the WARBL is a little bit weird with what you can get on the on-screen keyboard. So one of the things you can do there is maybe send the fixed velocity, and that's not so great either, but this is going to be basically your maximum attack, if you will. And then because I've got the breath controlling volume, I should still get some control there. So you can see I'm getting the little pitch bend there. Now, of course, it's not going to respond exactly the way like a NAF, but that can be a good thing too, right? Just exploring different ways of expression. So I hope that gives you an idea of how you can combine the acoustic world with the electronic world, and maybe open up some new realms of exploration for you. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, let me know, and we'll try and get those answered for you. Thanks. Bye.